All right. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Game is Game podcast. I'm here as always with my bro, Eric. We're going to go ahead and break down the Eastern Conference playoffs. Definitely hit subscribe. We're going to have up possibly tomorrow, but definitely on Wednesday, our Eastern Conference semi breakdowns. I think it's becoming pretty clear who's playing who, but we'll talk about how there were some big changes, but definitely look out for those. And we're going to be breaking down the Pacers and the Kings. That should be up shortly as well, their seasons and what to look forward in the offseason. So definitely hit subscribe. If you have any questions and comments, definitely leave a comment. We respond to all of them. So as far as the Eastern Conference, I guess the biggest news was Joel Embiid's injury last night. Uh, I was watching the game in the background, and I mentioned it on the last pod when he got hurt. He went up for a layup and fell on his back, and I thought it was going to be, an issue of a bruised tailbone, but then they said it was a knee injury, and an MRI was scheduled for today. The results haven't really been given back, and they've kind of been ambiguous on what is kind of been very vague on what the actual injury is and timeline. They just said that he's doubtful for the next game. So obviously, with the way that he was playing, you could say he was the best player of this playoffs series. I don't think many people have been watching the games because they haven't been close, but he was dominant. He was playing in rare form, and obviously, an injury to him really sets back the Sixers. Eric, what are your thoughts on
Yeah,
what's going on with that?
obviously that injury is big. He's been dominant the whole series. All three of their centers, Washington, they haven't been really able to slow him down. They've tried doubling him. They've sent double teams at him, and he's even attacked the double team and still scored. So he's been dominant this series. I think he's been more dominant on the defensive end, controlling the paint and not allowing the Wizards to get any points in the paint or allowing Russell Westbrook to get into rhythm and get into the paint and start distributing to others. So that injury is big. If you look at the Sixers this season, they were 10-11 without Joel Embiid, and more importantly, if you dive a little bit deeper into that record, they were 3-8 against all teams that were in the playoffs. Two of their wins coming against the Knicks, and one of them coming against a shorthanded Laker team. So they were, they lost 8 games against playoff teams: Memphis, Denver, the Bucks, the Jazz, uh, the Clippers. They lost a bunch of games to playoff teams, and it looks like a lot of their wins came against non-playoff teams. So, um, if you would have to take a guess, you would think that Washington may be able to sneak in a win on the road, especially if Ben Simmons um, it continues to struggle offensively like he did in the last game. So uh, I think that injury is big. I wouldn't say that all of a sudden now the Wizards can win the series, but you definitely don't want to come home game 5 and allow the Wizards to get any confidence and steal a game there.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Ben Simmons struggles from the free throw line. They went to a hack of Ben Simmons strategy, and I think he made 50% of them. When they went to that hack of Ben Simmons strategy. So that's something to definitely look at going forward in the series. He's been unwilling to shoot 3 pointers. So, that's well documented. But he shot about 60% from the free throw line, and there's been a little bit of a regression um, towards the end of the season and the playoffs. He started 0 of 11 until he made his first free throw. So shooting with him is always going to be the story. I don't think this, especially with the way the game is played now, there's no way to run from it. As far as the Sixers' chances, I think that they should still be able to pull the series out. They lost Avia, Washington lost Avia, and then Bertans. It was announced today that he's going to be out 46 weeks with the left calf strain, and he hasn't played particularly well, but he's a body, and I think the Wizards are just really running out of bodies as well, especially on the wing. So I do think that is an injury that the Sixers should be able to overcome, but we'll see how long it affects them because
You
going into
know,
the next series
you know
with the
what's
Hawks, it looks like it'll be hard for them to win that one.
what's interesting about the Ben Simmons thing, and I know you were a Sixers fan and you watch a lot of the games, but what I don't understand about Ben Simmons is if you look at different players around the league, like let's take for example Michael Kidd Gilchrist, where his shot and his arch is, it doesn't look very good. But if you watch Ben Simmons shoot, it doesn't look bad.
It doesn't look broken.
The form doesn't look broken. So
Yeah, I don't.
I'm so confused on why he doesn't shoot more and why he's struggling from the free throw line. It's really a mystery to me why this at this point in his career he's not just shooting, even if you're not making them. It's mind-boggling to see that he just doesn't shoot it more. His form doesn't look broken. It doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it. He actually has a nice to me, his form looks good. I'm so curious to get in his head and figure out why he's just not shooting it. If you look at Rondo now, I mean, Rondo kind of suffered for some of the same things early on in his career, but Rondo just shoots it now. He just shoots it, regardless if he makes it or not. He confidently steps into that jumper. So I think Ben Simmons has to do the same. Like, you just have to shoot it, regardless of the outcome. He has to start shooting it.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his, you mentioned, and I think that, in all actuality, he's probably the closest thing to LeBron as far as the size, the speed, the passing ability. But, his just unwillingness to shoot the ball has just turned him into almost a guard defender version of Draymond Green, where he's just not going to shoot it. Even Dre will shoot it eventually and occasionally. He won't shoot it at all. I've never seen a player like this in my history of watching the game. All 36 years of me being on earth, I've never seen a player who refuses to shoot. Not that he doesn't make it, but he won't shoot it at all.
And I just don't get why Doc Rivers, he came out in the media and he seemed a little frustrated with the media regarding him shooting and the free throws. And it's like, Doc, if you go back in history and you look back, I believe it was in the 2009 series against Orlando where Boston lost in the semifinals. We lost Game 7. I remember, I think Doc said something about Rondo having to shoot it, like he has to shoot it. So I don't understand. Like, I know you're trying to give your player confidence, but at the same time, he has to shoot the ball.
Well, I think it has to do with his mental makeup. And, I don't want to get into that stuff with Kwame Brown. And, he made a good point about us attacking young kids and their mental mindset. You don't know where they're at this time. But just from everything I've read about Ben Simmons, is he's someone, if you coach him too hard, you're going to lose him. So Brett Brown, I think this was 2019. Ben Simmons made a corner three-pointer, and Brett Brown came out and said, hey, my thing, and I've told Ben, is that I would like him to shoot at least one three-pointer a game. So this is after a game after Ben Simmons made a three-pointer. Ben Simmons didn't shoot another three-pointer the rest of the season. And, a lot of people theorize it's because, his coach said that publicly. And then if you even watch last night's game, there was a situation where Ben Simmons was about to shoot a free throw. This is when they were going hack of Ben Simmons, right? And he's at the free throw line. And Danny Green is coming up to him after he misses the first free throw and trying to talk to him. And Ben Simmons backs away from him. Like, I don't want to hear you right now. Let me focus. I think mentally he's just a different type of cat, where there's some people, you can talk to, and there's some people, if you try to talk to them, they clam up, they get defensive real quickly. And I don't know him, and I want to be careful with the words because I don't want to say that he's a sensitive guy or he's like emotionally weak or anything like that. But he just doesn't seem like a guy that you can talk to. I'm sure people have talked to him about it since he came into the league. And, I heard, I was following the team and he said, oh, I think I figured things out and I'm going to talk to Magic about being a big card. And it just seems like he's just in a state of denial. And at the end of the day, I think we're in a state of denial if we keep talking about it. He's made the decision. He's not going to shoot the ball. So you just have to accept it as it is.
And if they are able to overcome that and win a championship, then it doesn't matter. So I think we have to take a wait and see approach. I think out of their run since they're tanking, the tank that they started years ago. I think this is probably their best opportunity at really being a serious contender. Obviously, there was the year that they had Jimmy Butler and they lost um, in 7 games to the Raptors. Um, However, I don't think that team would have beat the Warriors, a healthy Warrior team. I think the NBA is a little bit more balanced, so it wouldn't surprise me if the outside of the Nets, it wouldn't surprise me if Philly got all the way and they were able to win. So I think that this year, based on the landscape of the NBA and based on the level that they've played at all season, I think this is probably their best year as being a serious contender since this group has been put together. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think, but I also think that this is a proven year for Ben Simmons. I think if they don't win it, once again, I don't want to be unfair, but if they don't win it, it looks like it's going to be on him. Joel Embiid has carried his end of the load. I remember when that story broke with the Sixers GM that had the burner account and was tweeting all those crazy things. I guess he wasn't a fan of Joel Embiid, and he was a fan of Ben Simmons. He was saying Ben Simmons is going to be a better player, and Joel Embiid just talks, but he's lazy. Joel Embiid has worked on his flaws, the conditioning, and he's improved his game. And Ben Simmons, since he's come to the league, I mean, he's been pretty static. So I think that this season is really just going to depend on Ben Simmons. Is he going to be able to make his free throws? Is he going to be able? What type of player is he going to be? The sad thing about this series is that when Joel Embiid was in the game, none of the games were close, so we never really got an opportunity to see a crunch time lineup. And I'll talk about this more when we break down Brooklyn and the Bucks, because it looks like Brooklyn is never going to win. But the unfortunate thing for the Nets is that they have not been in a situation where you can see their crunch time lineup and how does that work and who gets the ball and what are the situations. So I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening with the Sixers, but yeah, all of this is irrelevant if Joel Embiid has a serious injury. So
Yeah,
we'll take a wait and see the approach.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for Game 5. I think that the Wizards will obviously come in with a lot of energy, a lot of confidence. Joel Embiid's out, and Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal will obviously try to take advantage and take opportunity with him being out of the lineup. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I still have the Sixers winning the series because I think Joel Embiid would eventually return to the lineup, but we will see what happens.
Yeah, so we can go ahead and talk about the only other series we're going to talk about for the Eastern Conference today, Atlanta versus the Knicks. Atlanta's up 3-1. They've dominated the series. This series has really been marked by the struggles of Randle and RJ Barrett. Stephen A was screaming on TV today. He was a Knicks fan. He's a Knicks fan, saying all Randle does is go left. And
if you look at and the thing about it is I got a lot of flack from some of my friends that are Laker fans that said, you talk bad about Randle. He's the most improved player, all-star, all NBA player. But like I said, like we talked about in past episodes, is Randle an 82 game player, or is he a 16 game player? And obviously it's showing. I just want to kind of read off some Randle stats to you. And if you hear these stats, you tell me if you think the Knicks are capable of winning a game. For the series, Julius Randle from the field is 20 of 73.
Jesus.
He's 32% from the field. He's 8 from 24 from 3, so he's 33% from 3. He's averaging less than 5 assists a game. He's right at 4 assists, so which means he's not creating shots for anybody. And he's minus 28 total in all four games. I just don't see as their best player. How could they even? They're lucky to have won the game that they won.
Yeah.
With those numbers, as him being the best player, shooting 32% from the field, they shouldn't. The series should be over. So I think that Randle, I want to give him a lot of credit for what he's done this season. He's obviously improved his game in many facets. but he still has a long way to go for him to be that kind of player, to be a capable all-star of really making strides in a playoff series. Obviously, he doesn't have a post move. He can't really finish oversized. I don't think his shot selection is always great. Um, and that's easy to game plan for, obviously, in the playoffs. I don't want to place all the blame on him because, RJ Barrett hasn't looked good. They haven't, some of their other role players haven't shot the ball well. But you also have to give the Hawks a lot of credit because they've made shots, they've played well. They did what they were supposed to do at home by winning both home games handily. So I give Atlanta a lot of credit, but like I said, Julius Randle, if you're the number one player, you have to shoot better than 32% from the field.
Yeah, and this was a series that a lot of people were going in were saying, like, who guards Randle? How do you stop Randle? He killed them in the regular season, but 82 game players, 16 game players, and I think definitely he's showing he's an 82 game player. And the playoffs are about really focusing in on individual players' weaknesses. I remember I mentioned this on the podcast before. Kyle Korver, he was big for the Cavs in the regular season. Anytime they got to the finals, the three times they played the Warriors just snuffed him out because players that play with energy, that energy is matched by everyone on the court in the playoffs. There's breaks in between the games. There's scouting, and it's just hard. And I listened to Zach Lowe podcast today, and they made an interesting point about left-handed players struggling in the playoff because left-handed players are usually not as ambidextrous. Usually, if a player is left-handed, he struggles driving to the right. While right-handed players, for the most part, are more ambidextrous. So that actually leads into the point of Stephen A. saying that he just drives left. He's an easy player to game plan for because he drives a lot with his dominant hand, and he does not post up. So you can put a wing on him, and because Tibbs plays a big at all the time, you have a big waiting for him at the rim. It's gonna be tough for him. So
but the thing that's good for Julius Randle as a player is that he's obviously hungry to improve.
Yeah, he's hungry to improve. So
he's hungry to improve himself, and he's shown that consistently since he's been in the NBA. So I don't expect nothing less for him to take this series as motivation for him to get back in the gym and work on his game and work on his deficiencies and go get a post game. So I think that this will be a learning lesson from him, and he will come back better and stronger from it. But obviously for the Knicks, we're not gonna spend too much time on this series. Obviously for the Knicks, in my opinion, this season is still a win. You brought excitement back to the team. You brought back buzz to the team. You have a bunch of young role players, and now what you want to do is swing for the fences and hope that a superstar becomes available and that.
I think this is a really good series.
That's still the goal, regardless of what happens in this series. So, if you're a Knicks fan, you have to be excited. You have to feel like this season is a win. It's a win, and we got on Julius Randle, but credit to him because a lot of their success is because of him in the regular season. So their season is still a win, regardless of what happens, in my opinion.
It's definitely in, and we'll break down if and when they lose the next game. We'll break them down because I think they actually have really big things coming down the pipe. So, all right, so we'll go ahead and end it there for the Eastern Conference preview playoff. So, if you have any comments, definitely hit subscribe. Check out that content that we have coming to you pretty soon, and we'll talk to you soon.